Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Here we go. We're getting another live episode kicked off today for the starter sit questions, and I'm a little bit tired. I'm not going to lie. But I do have the real Adam_H in with me to actually do the injury report today. And actually, go ahead, plug yourself real quick. I can hear myself talking in the background. Go ahead.
You're good, man. Hey, appreciate you having me back on. We're going to talk a lot of start sit.
You there? Oh, he froze again, guys.
Real Ash and any of my content.
You good?
Damn.
You in there? No, you're good right now.
Yeah.
You're good right now, but you did freeze for a second. Technical difficulties, everybody.
Oh man, I hope this isn't the tone of this Sunday, man, because we might be in for a long day. I can't handle another one like last Sunday.
No. Last Sunday was absolutely brutal with those injuries. Of course, you did talk about them. You did nail a lot of them. For everybody's, that wasn't tuned in last week. He did nail most of these injury reports, but we had Cortland Sutton and a few others. Oh my God, my dog actually got the squirrel's tail for a second. That was crazy. Anyways, sorry. This episode is off to a great start. This is great radio. I love it. Guys, we're going to be fielding start sit questions. We're going to be going over this injury report. We're going to be talking about, who is kind of questionable, who's going to be out, and who we want to play this week, who we're concerned about as well. So let's go ahead and kick this off. With the outs. The people that are definitely out, you guys need to get out of your lineup. And of course, we have with the quarterback position, we have Drew Lock, he's out. Tyrod Taylor is obviously out. We have Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. They're both out. We have Zach Moss is out, of course. So get him out of your lineup. We do have in the wide receiver department, Michael Thomas, of course, Henry Ruggs. Am I missing anybody here? Did I cover pretty much everybody who is definitely out this week? Paris Campbell?
No, Paris Campbell's definitely out. Don't remind me. Paris Campbell. Yeah. I think you got the big ones though for sure. That's,
George Kittle.
George Kittle. But yeah, I think you nailed it there.
All right, cool. So we got all the outs pretty much, but let's talk about some of these questionable ones. Oh, and of course, Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's talk about some of these questionable guys who actually could affect your fantasy lineups. And I'm going to start it out with Philip Lindsay, who is doubtful this week.
Mm-hmm.
He had the turf toe situation. Typically, that's a multi-week injury, but he's still listed as doubtful, so he has a chance of playing. Do you think he plays up against the Buccaneers?
Nope. Short answer. Short and sweet.
All right, let's keep it short and sweet then. Oh, of course, Raheem Mostert as well is out. What about Josh Jacobs, who's questionable? He's up against the Patriots, right?
Yeah.
He had a limited practice on Friday. I need Josh Jacobs to play. So is Josh Jacobs going to play? That's the real question.
I think he's going to play. I have a little segment I have on Twitter where they have these players that are questionable, and I call it, we played on Monday, so we're resting them. We're just resting them because they played on Monday. They need that little extra rest break. I'm not worried about Josh Jacobs. And then to piggyback on top of that, I'm not worried about Darren Waller. I think those guys are studs. If you got them, you got to play them.
I like it. I hope to God that Josh Jacobs plays, because if he does, he's going to go off up against New England Patriots front seven that had half the team opt out, over there in New England. So
I'm feeling good about it.
Duke Johnson didn't play last week, right? Duke Johnson was out.
Yes.
Because I know he didn't get any snaps, but I'm pretty sure he was completely out. So he's been limited in all the practices so far this week. Do we have Duke Johnson in or out this week?
I've been going back and forth with trying to figure out what's going on with Duke Johnson, because they haven't really said. They labeled it as I'm just looking it up right now. It sounds like Duke Johnson's out. They just ruled him out. I'm getting live updates here, man. We're keeping it on point right.
I'll take that. All right. Let's go with our next guy. This guy. Oh, sorry, you're frozen again.
No, you're good. My I don't know what's going on with the internet today. Duke Johnson might have a high ankle sprain, so I would think he's even droppable in some leagues.
Oh, high ankle sprains are never good. Well, we talked about high ankle sprains last week. High ankle sprains are the devil. Mama told me. Mama said high ankle sprains are the devil. All right,
She wasn't
Devontae
lying.
Adams.
Yeah. Devontae Adams. This one's tough. I think the last I heard they were going to try to see if he could play with the hamstring injury. It depends on some of your other options. I think if you have better options, you might take him out. It's really hard to bench Devontae Adams if he plays. If you got him, he's your stud. You got to play him, I feel like.
All right. So let's go with dude. He's doubtful though, right? And it's a Sunday night game. It's a Sunday night game up against the Saints where he's going to face Marshawn Lattimore most likely.
Yeah. If you've got better options, I would take him out.
Okay. All right. What about Julio Jones? He's questionable. And there were actually reports earlier in the week where he was going to definitely be out. Now they're saying he's questionable. What's going on over there with Julio Jones?
I think they just ruled him out. I want to confirm because I'm getting some updates here. Yeah, Julio Jones is inactive against the Bears, so he's out.
Awesome. I'm glad that you have the live updates because when I do these starter sit questions that are about to come up, I always mess up and pick the guy that's actually out. So thank you very much for letting me know about Julio Jones.
Hey, no problem. I would, circling back, I would treat Julio Jones and Devontae Adams the same way. The more I'm thinking about it with the hamstring injury being doubtful, it's a late game. I would hate to be, handcuffed and not have another option. So if you've got Devontae Adams, I'm probably benching him.
What's going on with Kenny Golladay?
I think Kenny Golladay is going to play. I think if you have Kenny Golladay, I have him in a league and I'm flexing him here. Maybe you can help me set my lineup here. I think if you watch the Thursday night game and you saw what was going on with Devontae Parker, where he didn't look right. I mean, he still got a decent amount of targets, but he was not separating. He wasn't really bursting up the field. I think you could see a similar trajectory with Kenny Golladay. But it's tough. These hamstring injuries are tough. I mean, I think he's obviously not going to be 100%. I think there's a chance that he re-aggravates it and that kind of hurts you if he leaves the game early. So just keep that in mind. We can talk about, start options or flex options with Kenny Golladay later in the show.
It's going to be Cortland Sutton 2.0 where he's going to go down with a shoulder injury for the season, right?
I hope not, man. I hope not. There's been too many injuries.
I know. I'm going to be sitting Golladay personally. I think he's going to be more of a decoy, even if he isn't. Hamstring injuries are no joke, and he could have limited snaps. He could, re-injure himself. There's just too many risks. I'm sitting Golladay, in my opinion. Hamstring injuries are no joke. All right, let's go with Judy. Is Judy going to be an option this week?
Well, he's got a rib injury. He's expected to play. I know we got a question here, should we be starting or sitting Jerry Jeudy? I think I would maybe even sit him. He hasn't looked really great even when he was healthy and playing.
Dropping balls and everything, man.
Yeah. I think Noah Fant is on a tear right now. You got Jeff Driscoll, the backup quarterback. That's always a sketchy situation. I think there's enough negatives going up against Jerry Jeudy this week that I'm okay benching him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like KJ Hamler in this matchup, especially in DFS, by the way. So, yeah, I think that you can end up sitting Jerry Jeudy. All right, on to Julian Edelman, who's questionable for Sunday's game up against the Raiders. He had a knee injury. What's going on with Jerry Jeudy? Julian Edelman. Julian
Edelman. Yeah, it sounds like he's been dealing with something. The injury report wasn't super specific about what kind of knee issues he was having. He looked great the last game that I saw him play. I'm okay, comfortable. We're getting to some nitty gritty options here because a lot of guys are injured or whatnot. I think, given what we know about Julian Edelman and what we've seen him do playing wise, I'm okay starting him.
Yeah, and in the slot, oh man, love Julian Edelman this week. All right, N'Keal Harry. He's dealing with an injury as well, another Patriot.
Yeah, similar thing to Julian Edelman. I mean, I think both of those guys have looked good in that offense. Cam has obviously looked good in that offense. With N'Keal Harry, it sounds like he's lined up to play dealing with an ankle injury. He saw a ton of targets last week. I mean, I'm trying to think. He saw 12 targets last week. I'm okay starting N'Keal Harry as well. He seems to have a good chemistry with Cam Newton, even with the ankle injury.
All right. What about the toe injury with Steven Sims? Is this turf toe?
I haven't seen the actual video of him injuring his toe, so it would be hard for me to kind of get a feel with that. I wouldn't think it's turf toe because he's playing this week, and that injury is tough. That's a painful injury, so he might have.
What is turf toe? What is turf toe?
Turf toe is where your big toe, you hyperextend it so it comes forward towards you, and you stretch or sprain the ligaments on the underside of your foot. So it's a really painful injury for wide receivers and running backs. It can be especially problematic because that's where they generate a lot of their force. They need to be able to push off of that if they're going to accelerate up the field or cut. So if Steven Sims had turf toe, I would be shocked if he was playing in this game, and it looks like he's active for week 3. So I don't think it's a turf toe injury. I'd be okay. He's more of a deeper league option for me. But again, we talked about a lot of wide receiver injuries already. I'd be okay if you're in a pinch that you need to put him in your lineup.
I got you, man. All right, so let's hop into some of these starter sit questions. People are really flying in the comments with this. So
let's do it.
Starter sit questions, guys. Send in your starter sit questions and whatever you're looking. You're watching this on. If you guys want to be recognized on Facebook, then actually I'm on YouTube right now, so that doesn't really matter. All right, let's do these starter sit questions. We've got Ryan or Stafford, standard scoring non-PPR. Woo, this is going to be a good one because Stafford actually has the Detroit Lions this week, and I love that matchup. Meanwhile, Matt Ryan has the Bears, who are pretty decent up against the quarterback overall. I'm a big fan of Matt Stafford this week. I actually have him playing in quite a few DFSs. I could see him with 4 touchdowns.
I hope you're right. I got Matt Stafford in a lot of leagues. I've been a little bit disappointed, but he's been without Kenny Golladay, so you got to kind of take that for what it's worth. Matt Ryan's been on a tear, man. He's been on fire, and I know he's going to be without Julio Jones, but I've talked about it before on the show. I'm a Bears fan. I've been pretty disappointed. I know they're 2-0, but I think it was rather lucky that they're fortunate to be 2-0. It was how some of the games ended. So I'm going to lean Matt Ryan. He's been on fire, man.
Yeah. Oh man, you're going Matt Ryan. Woo!
Yeah.
All right. So on Facebook, this question isn't available on the screen itself, but they want to know Wentz or Burrow. He'd have to drop Wentz in order to pick up Joe Burrow. And for me, that offensive line, man, it's beat up. It's a little bit healthier this week. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the injury expert, but I think all 3 offensive linemen are actually starting this week that were injured, throughout the previous weeks, right?
Yep, that's what I've seen.
What is it? Lane Johnson, and I'm having a brain fart. What are the other 2 offensive linemen?
I'm not an offensive lineman guy. You're asking the wrong guy.
Sorry, guys. I apologize. But the 3 offensive linemen that were questionable throughout the week are playing this week, I believe. So, anyways, I think that I'm leaning Joe Burrow on this one. This offensive line, although is healthy now, isn't great. And I like Joe Burrow, man. He gets points with his legs, right?
Yeah, we're finally syncing up here, man. We're getting in groove on Sunday. We got off to a rocky start. I'm with you though, Joe Burrow. I'm not liking what's going on in Philadelphia with Carson Wentz. He's been bad, like very bad, droppable bad. So I'm okay dropping Carson Wentz for Joe Burrow. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, quarterbacks aren't especially single quarterback leagues. You're not going to see much discrepancy between the 2. When it comes to point differential by the end of the season. I like streaming quarterbacks. I'm a huge fan of quarterback streamers. So. What about David Johnson or Joshua Kelly? I actually have this problem in one of my leagues, and I went Joshua Kelly. This up against Carolina.
Ooh, that's spicy. That is spicy. I like it. You and I have talked about this again on the show. Our love for Joshua Kelly. The only thing that's in the back of my head that's just got me thinking a little bit is Justin Jackson for the Chargers is healthy, and I know that
is he in?
Yeah, I think so. Let me double check that.
He's just going to be a special teamer, even if he's in.
I'm keeping that in the back of my mind because I know that
he's doubtful.
He's doubtful.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if he's and what time did they play at 1 or they play at 4?
I don't have the time in front of me. Hold on 1 second. They play at 4.
Okay. With him being doubtful, I'm okay with Joshua Kelly. I'm okay with Joshua Kelly then. That's good to finally figure that out. Yeah, I'm good with either way.
David Johnson sketches me out, man. He has 27 rushing attempts over 2 weeks. That's not good. Like, that's not a lot.
And he hasn't really been great running the ball either. Like, he hasn't been overly impressive.
Yeah, I think I'm going Joshua Kelly this week for real. For real.
Spicy. I like it.
I'm taking Joshua. I love Joshua Kelly. All right, so we got another question from a dude that, no, I'm not answering his questions. This guy, get the fuck out of here, Shane. Oh my God. No, this guy is literally calling me a pussy on live air and stuff, and then he's asking me questions again today. I had to block him from fantasy football discussion, and now he's on my personal page asking me questions. Oh my God.
Come on, you gotta be nice to Chase.
Oh man. All right, TK. What's up, Troy? I don't know if you're still in here. This was a minute ago. But how would you rank these tight ends? Dallas Goedert, Hurst, and Jonnu in half-point PPR. You want to take it first?
Okay, I am going to go. Man, this is tough. I'm going to go Jonnu. My Jonnu Smith love knows no boundaries. I'm gonna put him number one. I am going to put, for this week, I'm going to put Hurst ahead of Goddard. That might be a little spicy, but with Julio Jones out, and we talked about Matt Ryan throwing the ball a lot, and I like Matt Ryan this week, I might put Hurst just ahead of Dallas Goedert.
So I'm a little bit nervous with Jonnu Smith this week. I mean, they just don't pass a lot, so it makes me a little bit sketched out, but he could always have that big play. And I love Jonnu Smith. I called Jonnu Smith as a top 5 tight end for this season. That's how much I love Jonnu Smith.
Can I make one point about Jonnu Smith? He's been on fire with A.J. Brown being out, and A.J. Brown is going to miss some time with that bone bruise, and that's something we can talk about later or whatnot in an injury segment, but he's got a bone bruise. It's looking like a multi-week injury. He's already missed 2 weeks. Jonnu Smith has stepped up big time with A.J. Brown being out.
So if you need upside, like if you face like James Robinson or you're looking like you're going to lose big time, I'm going Jonnu Smith ahead of all these guys. But if you need safety, I'm going Dallas Goedert, Hurst, then Jonnu. But, if you need upside and you need a guy to smash, I'm going Jonnu Smith. All right. Eagles or Bears defense in week 3. I'm going Bears. But I don't like either option, to be honest with you.
That didn't sound very confident.
Well, I mean, Joe Burrow can get points on the ground. Like, he can get points with his legs. Yeah. And then you have, the rushing game causing problems. John Ross could go off for 2 touchdowns. You never know what's going to happen with the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Bears have a little bit of a tough matchup up against Stafford, but Matt Ryan. I'm sorry, Matt Ryan. Yeah. I don't like either one of these options. I would check your waiver wire, to be honest, and find a better option over there. Like, I'd rather have the Bengals defense, to be honest with you, over the Eagles.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would go to waivers, man. I would go to waivers. Oh, we already answered that one. All right. Can only start 3 in half PPR. T.Y. Hilton, Marquise Brown, Juju, or Joshua Kelly.
We're locking in Joshua Kelly, right? We got to be. Let's lock him in.
Lock it. Oh, I don't know, man. I think T.Y. Hilton takes over that slot role. So I think T.Y. Hilton takes over the slot role for Indianapolis, where he was very comfortable with last year. Paris Campbell kind of took that over. I think T.Y. goes back to that role. And he still plays a deep threat possibility as well, by the way. Yeah. So T.Y. Hilton should get targets and should also get a high target premium with downfield targets along with it. Meanwhile, Marquise Brown, I think, is the lock, although, the Chiefs defense up against the wide receivers is pretty good. Marquise Brown could smash, and I think that Lamar Jackson's going to, target him at least 5, 6, 7 times, which for Marquise Brown is great. Meanwhile, Juju is that guy in that offense, and I love Juju this week. So I think I'm slightly going T.Y. Hilton over Joshua Kelly, but I'm definitely locking in Marquise Brown and Juju.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I'm just flopping T.Y. and Joshua Kelly.
It's close. It's very close.
It's close, yeah.
But I think they could actually see – I mean, Joshua Kelly's going to get the workload. Meanwhile, T.Y. Hilton has the target premium over Joshua Kelly. So I think it's – I guess floor, you'd go with Joshua Kelly. Meanwhile, ceiling, you'd go T.Y. Hilton, unless you disagree.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I like it. All right.
Feel good about it.
Jordan Reed or Evan Ingram?
So I talked a lot this offseason about Evan Ingram coming off that Liz Frank injury and how that was going to affect his production. The stuff that I looked at the following season, you saw skill position players have a decline around 20% in terms of production.
Whoa.
Correlated that to fantasy football production, and talked about how Evan Ingram was being drafted as like a top 5 tight end. And really, I thought he was a fringy top 10, 11 tight end.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah.
Just for the people that did not hear that. What had happened with the drop off after the injury?
So Evan Ingram, there's a debate on Twitter about whether it was a Liz Frank or Liz Frank adjacent. I don't think it really matters. It was a significant foot injury that he had surgery on this offseason. And I looked at player production. There's research out there that suggests the following year, so the following 12 to 14 months after that surgery, you have a decrease in around 20 to 21% in terms of production, yards, touchdowns, receptions, etc. So I just correlated that to fantasy football production, and I mapped out that basically said Evan Ingram is being drafted around a top 5-6 tight end on a points per game basis. And I think it was more likely that he was going to finish around 10 to 12 on the season in terms of fantasy football production. And I'm not trying to like victory lap or anything like that, but Evan Ingram has not been impressive to start the season. Like, he hasn't looked very good. I
think the bigger thing is he just looks like he's on a different page. He looks like he's on a different page from Daniel Jones. So I think maybe, the offseason just didn't, pay it forward when it came to getting that chemistry down,
Yeah, something's going on. I don't know what, and he hasn't looked very good. So I'm okay with George Kittle being out and the wide receiver options that they have in San Francisco. I'm okay starting Jordan Reed over Evan Ingram.
I love Jordan Reed. I think he's going to be a stud this season. I think he has a chance to take points away from Kittle once Kittle comes back, to be honest. So Evan Ingram for me, Evan Ingram is not on the same page. I've watched his game film over the first 2 weeks, and there's been multiple times where he's had just miscommunications with Daniel Jones. Like, there's perfect example. Week 1 was it Monday Night Football with the Steelers. He's sitting there and he stays in his spot instead of floating to the outside. Daniel Jones throws it to where he should have been floating. He stood where he was, which the linebacker was in the way. It just doesn't seem like Evan Ingram's head's in it. It doesn't seem like he's playing like an actual guy that wants to be on the field. That's just from the game film. It looks like he's just being, just kind of blah with it. Mm-hmm. So kind of like, Gronk in his last season. So I see Evan Ingram not being a guy to go with this week, even though it's a decent overall matchup. All right, from the same dude, Sachin. I think that's how you say it. Tabaran. Should I sit T.Y. Hilton and start Jerick McKinnon? I love Jerick McKinnon, man. I love Jerick McKinnon this week.
Yeah. I usually, this sounds like a flex question. I tend to lean running back in that scenario. Jerick McKinnon's got it. Now, there's a chance he has a touchdown vultured from Jeff Wilson. But
that's going to happen at least once. It's going to happen at least once.
Pencil it in. So, yeah, I agree with you. I like Jerick McKinnon, too. He seems like he's finally healthy, and he's got the clear path to playing time.
Jet time, Will Harris. Go check out Will Harris on Twitter. And, of course, Lamb or Gallup. Jamie, you're looking a lot prettier. Just saying.
This is a tough one. Lamb or Gallup? I'm gonna let you take this first.
Yeah, I've been studying the Cowboys film a lot this week because it's going to be so chalky for DFS, and I've been studying a lot of the film for the Seahawks. And one of my buddies actually pointed out, I think it was it Matt? No, it was Kenny. I think it was one of my good buddies over there on fantasy football discussion. And the Seahawks, Jamal Adams was actually in the slot last week over Trey Flowers. And he allowed 6 catches on 6 targets for 157 yards, people. Like, I don't know what he was doing covering the slot over the tight end, but he was. And if that's the case again this week with CeeDee Lamb could smash. I mean, Jamal Adams is great. He's a great guy in coverage when it comes to the tight end. But when it comes to covering twitchy slot receivers, he doesn't have it. He's not a twitchy guy. He's a big physical force. So I love CeeDee Lamb this week. However, However, we've seen Calvin Ridley, who plays on the outside, just like Michael Gallup does, go off up against the Seahawks. So, it's not a foregone conclusion that you should play CeeDee Lamb over Gallup. I like both options here, especially for DFS, of course. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. I don't know if you can really go wrong with either one, but I would probably take the guy that's probably going to see more targets with CeeDee Lamb.
I like all that. And the only thing I'm going to add to it is Michael Gallup fantasy managers might be getting a little nervous because his fantasy production hasn't been very high. He's been on the unfortunate end of some pass interference calls. He might be in top of the league in terms of air yards. And for people that don't know what that is, that's the amount of distance that the ball travels in the air from the quarterback's hands. He's been a deep threat. If Michael Gallup doesn't have a good week this week, I'm going to every single fantasy manager in my league and trying to get Michael Gallup because I think they're going to be tilting if he lays up another stinker here. I'm worried about CeeDee Lamb. But for this week, I'm probably going CeeDee Lamb just because he's looked so good. And he, like you said, he gets those juicy matchups in the slot.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love CeeDee Lamb. I love both players this week, to be honest with you. But I'm not on Dalton Schultz this week at all. Are you on Dalton Schultz?
In a pinch, yeah, but it would have to be like I'd have to have a lot of injuries. Like if I had George Kittle and Dalton Schultz was my backup, then yeah, I'm going to put in Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I concur, my friend. I concur. Man, this is going to be a fun slate. There are a lot of big time games this Sunday. And there's some interesting matchups. I mean, we look at like my upset of the week is going to be Raiders and Patriots. Although Henry Ruggs is out, I might end up switching that because I had a different one that was going to be a upset. What was it? Oh, the Bengals and the Eagles, I think is my other upset.
Okay.
But it's going to be an interesting slate. If anybody has any more start or sit questions, please let us know. Please comment your start or sit questions. Let me go ahead and check my Facebook page just to make sure. But yeah. Is there anybody that you're looking at? Like for me, Andy Isabella is actually a play this week. I love Andy Isabella this week.
I love Andy Isabella too, and I've got him on a couple of dynasty rosters. I just wish they would get him the ball more. And DeAndre Hopkins is soaking up all those targets. I know Christian Kirk's out with the groin injury. I just feel like if Andy Isabella could get the volume to warrant, starting him, I'm playing him in a couple deeper leagues, but I just want to see more from him. Like every time he gets the ball, it's a big play, but I'm like, just give me more of Andy Isabella.
Give me more every time, man. Every time he gets a significant snap share, he goes off. Why are they holding him back? I mean, I understand Christian Kirk is the main guy there. I get it. I understand that. But come on, guys. Come on. Give me something. Give me something with Andy Isabella, please.
This could be the week, man. This could be the week that he goes and validates all the truthers out there and has a big one.
God, man. I love it. All right, let me go ahead real quick and make sure that I didn't miss any questions. I think we're good. I think we answered all the starter sit questions today.
Wow.
I think we're good to go.
We're pretty efficient, man.
Yeah. We're using YouTube now, so I think that slowed it down just a little bit, but it is what it is. I need to get stats. I need to get facts and stats because companies don't care about Facebook listens from your personal page. They want to see your business page do things. Anyways, guys, if you all want to check me out, go on to Twitter, ff_intervention. We also have, of course, linktr.ee/fantasy-intervention, linktr.ee/fantasy-intervention. You guys can go check out all my content on there. I write for Dynasty Nerds. I write for Dynasty Happy Hour as well. And, of course, the pregamehq.com where I do all my DFS. You guys can also find all my platforms on my podcast at linktr.ee/fantasy-intervention. And, of course, I brought on with me the real Adam_H. Where can we find you, Adam?
You can find me on Twitter, guys, at the real Adam_H or at theundroppables.com where you can follow my injury content. I'm going to be watching a lot of football today, so hopefully we don't have as many injuries as we did last Sunday, but I'll be checking in periodically and trying to tweet out some of what I'm seeing and what you can look for. But as always, Chase, I appreciate you having me on, man. Yeah, man. Get excited and make sure you guys tune in next Sunday for our start and sit episode.
Thank you guys for tuning in, of course. And thank you for letting us intervene with your fantasy football life. We're out.